Rob here at etrailer.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Westin Pro Traxx 4-inch Nerf bars on our 2016 Toyota Tundra. Now here's what our Nerf bars are going to look like once we have them installed. And Nerf bars are going to do two different things for you. They're going to give your truck a really nice clean appearance, but at the same time they're going to make it easier getting in and out so we don't have to worry about slipping, or if we're a little bit shorter, it's going to be a little bit easier to get inside of our truck. Now, one thing a lot of people don't really think about when it comes to Nerf bars, but it's actually going to save your seat quite a bit, because it will make it easier for us to get in. But as you can see, when you get out, if that step wasn't there, you end up rolling off your seat, which ends up taking a lot of wear and tear right here. Over time, it just loses all that cushion. But since our Nerf bars are there, we can actually use the step, go over that section of the cushion, and not have to worry about causing so much damage to the seat. Now, the Nerf bars we have here are black powder coated steel. They're also going to be available in a polished stainless steel, but they're all going to be 4 inches wide and have that oval look to them. That means we're going to have a really wide area to step on because we're going to have this 4-inch pad, so whether we are getting in or out, we don't have to worry about slipping, because the pad here is going to have extruded plastic, so we make sure we have that secure grip. And on the end cap of the bar here, it's going to be this domed piece, which gives it a nice finished look to it, but also we're not going to have to worry about water getting to the inside of the tube here and then causing rust or corrosion. It's going to be fully sealed off, so we're not going to have to worry about that. Now, these are going to be cab length bars, so they're going to run all the way from the front wheel well to the back of the cab here. And you can see, since we have the double cab on our Tundra, we are going to get that rear step pad for our rear passengers to get in or get out as well. And another nice thing that I really like is the fact that they do include these covers here for the brackets. It's just going to give it a really nice clean look rather than just having a metal bracket come down and hold the bar in place. And the fact that it is black plastic means that we're not going to have to worry about it rusting, but it is going to be UV and fade resistant, so over time we're not going to have to worry about it fading and looking gray. One of my favorite things about the kit is how easy they are to install. We're not going to have to cut or drill anything at all. All of our mounting brackets are going to mount into existing holes that are already there, and everything is going to come included that you need to get it installed. In fact, let's go ahead and install one side together. To begin our installation, we're going to start on the passenger side. We already have our driver's side installed, but they're going to install exactly the same. Now, if we come to the very bottom of the door and go towards the inside of the truck, at the very front, right behind our mud flap here, we're going to find a bolt, and there'll be a threaded hole just towards the inside of that. Now, if we move further down on our frame rail, we'll find another 2 bolts here. And continue to move further down, we'll find another set. We're going to skip these. Then at the back, we're going to have another set of 2 bolts. We're going to need to pull these out, so we want to grab a 12mm socket and remove them. Now, we're not going to be reusing these bolts, so we can get rid of them. At this point, we want to get our brackets in place. We want to start with our front bracket. They are going to be labeled, so we'll have a F stamped into our bracket. We'll have one section that'll have a curved section, and then we'll have another section that'll have a flat piece on it. And the flat piece with the oblong holes are going to mount up and line up with the bolt that we just removed and that threaded hole in the frame. So we want to grab one of our new bolts out of our kit, follow it up with a lock washer, and then a flat washer. And right now we just want to pass the bolts through our bracket. We're just going to loosely line everything up. And just get a couple threads started on each one of the bolts so that our bracket will hold itself up, and we can get the rest of the hardware in place. Don't need to crank it down or anything right now. We just want it up there real loose so we can get the other bolt in and continue to work on putting the rest of the brackets in. Each one of our brackets is going to get the same combination of hardware, and each one is labeled, so we'll either have an R for rear, C for centered, or an F for front. You just want to make sure you put the brackets in the right spot, and then we'll just use that same combination of hardware to hang them all. I'm going to come back with a 13mm socket and just take up some of the slack that's in the bolts. We don't need to really crank down on these, but just enough to where they're not super loose, but they still have a little bit of play in them. We'll do that for all the remaining brackets we have. Next, we can grab our bracket covers. Now, if we look on the back side, there's a small channel. It's got several holes going through it. This channel here, we want to get our frame brackets to sit right in between. This is going to give us a nice clean appearance. What I like to do is just kind of go around the bracket here and then rotate it up so it can either get right behind that pinch weld or pretty even with it. But then we'll grab one of the small bolts out of our kit, follow it up with a flat washer. And there's going to be two holes that pass through our bracket. We want to pass our bolt through the plastic, through the bracket, all the way to the other side. Now on the other side, we're going to take a flat washer, and then we're going to secure it down with a nylon lock nut. For now, we just want to get these loosely installed so that the covers won't fall off, and we can always come back and tighten them up later at the very end. Now that we have this one loosely in place, we're going to repeat that for the front and the rear brackets as well. At this point, we can get ready to set our board on. Now on each one of the brackets, we'll have this curved piece with two oblong holes, and that's what's going to actually mount the board up. I'd like to go over the hardware. That way, it's a little bit easier for you to see rather than me trying to hold everything together. We're going to have an Allen head bolt. We'll have a star lock washer, and then a flat washer, and that's to be the combination for each one of these holes on each one of the brackets. Both brackets are going to get two bolts, come up through, and we're going to thread it directly into the board. And again, we'll have two bolts for each one. And when you first get your board up, what I like to do is just set it on the brackets, and then I usually get the center of the board attached. That way I know I have at least one bolt in there holding it up so it won't fall off. You want to make sure you grab the appropriate board, because if we look at the bottom where those threaded holes are, we'll have two sets that are going to be going towards the front, and then one set that's very much farther away from the other two. Just want to make sure you grab the appropriate ones, and again, we'll just kind of loosely set it up there, and take one of our bolts, go through our bracket, and get at least a couple threads going into the board, that we don't have to worry about it falling. Then we can get the rest of the hardware in place. Now that we have our boards loosely attached and everything's real loose on there, we want to tighten up our frame brackets first. So I'm going to come back with that 13mm socket and tighten them down all the way. Then we can take the included Allen key. We'll tighten up the bolts that are attaching the boards to the brackets. And for our bracket covers here, I'm going to use a 10mm ratcheting wrench and a 10mm wrench because of the limited space in here. I'm going to tighten up those nut and bolts. That way the cover's not going to move around and be nice and secure. Now these are just plastic covers, so we don't really need to crank on them too tight. We just want them to be snug so they're not moving around when we're driving down the road. Now you want to make sure you come back with a torque wrench, and we're going to torque all of our hardware down to the specified amount in the instructions. Now the included Allen key is a 6mm, just so you can use the correct size with a torque wrench. Once you have your last bolt torqued down, we're just going to repeat that entire process on the other side. But that'll finish up your installation and your look at the Westin Pro Traxx Nerf Bars on our 2016 Toyota Tundra.